Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. This is your boy, Brother Shemo Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Trading Places. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, right? And the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called Trading Places. And I was just kind of, this movie came on the other day. If you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely, watch this movie. I believe it came out in 1983. Yep, Trading Places came out in 1983, right? And it's starring Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Ralph Bellamy, Don Amici. What is the other lady's name? I forgot her name. Dang. It slips my mind right now. Let me see. Not important, but I just want to see. Just make sure. Let me see something. Let's take a look. Dang, what is her name? I cannot think of it right now. That is going to. Anyways, right? In this movie, right? Trading Places, basically what's happening is these two, Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici, they play Randolph Duke and Mortimer Duke, right? And that's the thing, they know who they are, right? These two, right? And what they do is they basically play a game, right? These are like multi-millionaires, probably billionaires or whatever, and what they're doing is they're playing a game amongst themselves on seeing if they can turn, Eddie Murphy, who is playing basically a beggar, into a fine citizen, I guess you would say, or, if he can run a corporation, and what they did on the other hand was they turned Dan Aykroyd, who basically was groomed for, the position that he was in. They turned him, threw him, and tossed him to the dirt, right? And just to see if they could prove each other wrong. I think they bet like $1 for it or whatever. But it just, this movie kind of just symbolizes, the things that go on, with this, and what's about to happen to this place. Salaki, I'm still trying to. What is her name? I cannot think of her name right now. Sheesh. It's gonna drive me crazy. Matter of fact, let's see. Cast. Salakia. I'm just trying to. Dang, it's right. Her name is right on the tip of my tongue. This lady right here. I cannot think of her name. She played in what was it? Like Jason, Friday the 13th or whatever. I just cannot think of her name right now. It slipped my mind. If you know what it is, you can put it in there. But basically, so like I said, this, if you haven't seen this movie, it's like a comedy, but it's a good movie, right? Because basically, it just shows, you have these two, these two guys who are, basically representing the elite, the rich man, right? And you have Lazarus here, Lazarus and then Dan Aykroyd, and then all of a sudden how, they went from the top to the bottom. And then this man and Dan Aykroyd, right? Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd went from the bottom to the top, right? And ultimately that's what's going to be happening, here. That's what's going to take place, right? It's going to be that great trading places. All right. So I want to kind of get into a couple of scriptures. But yeah, definitely check this movie out. You can watch it for free on somewhere. It usually comes on TV all the time too. But it's called Trading Places, right? So let's go to the book of Luke, right? Book of Luke. And Yahawashi talked about the parable about the rich man and the beggar, right? So this is Luke chapter, the rich man and Lazarus, right? This is Luke chapter 16, verse 19. It says, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day, right? Just like these men right here, right? When this movie Trading Places, right? You had the dukes, right? And what was Esau? What were they when you go into their lineage? When you go, I don't know if it's in Numbers or, but it talks about, or it might have been in Genesis, where it talks about the dukes, the duke of this, the duke of that, right? And they were Mortimer Duke, and I forgot the other one, right? But their last names were dukes, right? And you see in the picture of the wall, they have all their rich elite. Like I say, you watch this movie and you'll definitely see a lot of spiritual ties, and things to this, right? Because this is just the epitome of it, right? So let's go back to Luke. So it says, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, right? And it represents, like, the purple linen, is elite, richness, right? Abundance, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar, right, named Lazarus, which was laid up at the gates full of sores, right? Let me see if I can find that picture of Eddie Murphy, right? And when you watch at the beginning of the movie, Eddie Murphy, is playing, like he has no legs. He's like a Vietnam War vet or something, homeless man, and he's out begging, all right? He's out begging, in the street. He's out here begging people for money, all right? So, all right, let's go back. And it says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, and Lazarus represents what? You so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and you the diaspora, right? You are the Israelites. Your lineage goes back to Jacob, okay? And the Lazarus, or the beggar, it represents you, okay? It says, which was laid at his gate full of sores and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. It says, moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores, right? And the dogs represent these other nations who come, and what do? They open up these shops. Well, we see that there's no place for you to buy food and do these. And what do? They open up these mom and pop stores, right? And they'll charge $4 for bread, eggs $7. You know what I mean? And they're just, because they know that there's nowhere to go to get these different things, and they open up these places to try to fulfill that. What do? But then they serve you shrimp fried rice. They open up, the Chinese restaurant, shrimp fried rice, and this, that, the other. The what is that? The lobster, little wonton type things. They do these different things. They open them in your stores, and they're like, well, here we can help you out. You can come here and get food, right? And all they're doing, they're licking your sores, man, right? So it says, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, right? You seen Eddie Murphy, he had his little thing, it had wheels on it, and he would be wheeling around begging people for money, right? And it's the representation, right? It says, Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores, and it says, and it came to pass that the beggar died. All right. And was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. All right. And guess what? Because of our transgressions, we died. We went into that dead estate, right? Not knowing who we are. Right. We're in captivity yet to this day. All right, for what we have done. Okay. And so it says the rich man also died and was buried. Okay. And this is going into basically Esau, rather the Edomites, going into slavery, right? Because when it says, and in hell he lifted up his eyes, right? This is talking about hardcore slavery. Now we went into hardcore slavery, right? And remember, there was no pity upon us. They in Deuteronomy 28, it says there shall be they shall not give any regards to the old nor the young, right? They didn't care, right? They didn't care. They whooped us, beat us, they raped, our women, our grandmothers, our mothers, and they did all types of atrocities to us. All right. So it says, and hell, he lifted up his eyes, talking about the rich man, right? But this is in captivity, right? Being in torments and seeing Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom, all right? Because that trading places is about to switch, right? And we're about to be on top again, Deuteronomy 28, when you go into the curses, it talks about how we were going to be, let's get that Salakia, instead of me talking about it. Let's get it real quick. All right, but it's you gotta look at some of these movies, and all these different meanings and different things. You be like, oh man, that's great, 28, and let's go to 15, just real quick. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15, right? And it says, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahawah, thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? And one of those curses where we're going to be, let's see, verse 48, it says, therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies, right? Which Yahawah shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and the want of all things. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And it says, and Yahawah shall bring a nation against thee from far, from one end of earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? Esau uses what? The eagle as his mascot. When you look at his flag, when you look at his different things, he utilizes that. It says a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor of the young. Right? And this is in captivity. All right. With the yokes of iron, right? That's captivity. All right. But the point I wanted was one of the curses where it says, let's see. Salakia. Where is it? Marvel 30. Let's see. Salakia. I haven't looked at this in a while. Here we go. 44. It says, he shall, verse 28 and verse 43, it says, the strangers that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And that's where we're at right now. right now, we're still in that lower state, Salakia. And these other nations, what do? They come from these other countries. They come right in our neighborhood. They build businesses. They do these things. Right? They're licking our sores, man. While we're still here at the bottom, They're here licking the sores of our people. It says, he shall lend to thee, right? And thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail, right? And right now we're the tail. But soon enough, in the trading places, we're going to be the head. Okay? We're going to be the head. All right, let's go back to Luke, right? It says, and in hell he lift up his eyes, right? Being in torment, right? This is talking about Esau, right? You got the dukes, right? Being in torment, right? This is hardcore slavery. And seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom, right? Because then we're going to be in the head, right? That trading of places is coming. It said he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame, right? That flame is actually representing the hardcore slavery. All right. And it says, but Abraham said, Son, remember thou in thy lifetime receiveth thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. Why? Because that trading of places. Okay. It says, and besides all this, right? Hey, guess what? The children of Israel, we had to deal with that hardcore slavery, right? With no regards, right? They didn't regard anything that they didn't pity the old nor the young. All right. And it's going to be the same way, when the tables are turned. Okay. It says, son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted and thou art tormented, right? Remember when they were in captivity, now you're in captivity, right? It says, and besides this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed. So they which would pass from thence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence, right? Because guess what? They're going to have to drink of that cup. All right. Ain't going to be no passing of the cup. No. You know what I'm saying? The way we had to go through hardcore slavery, the Lord said, give them double according to their, what they've had, right? Then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may testify unto them, lest also come into the place of torment. I'm not reading any more on that one, but what I wanted was basically the part of the trading the places, all right? And understanding that, guess what? For this long, because we have, we disobeyed Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, we went into captivity, went into hardcore captivity, and the same way that we're going into hardcore that we are in captivity even unto this day. Guess what? Esau is going into that. All right. And that's why I was, talking about this movie, Trading Places, because that's what's going to happen, right? These top banking families, right? And these guys, they were basically running the stock trades and doing these different things, and they had so much power that, the power was not, the money was not enough. So then they wanted power. They wanted to, make this man's life a living hell. And they want to bring this man up just to prove a joke, right? And just to win a dollar bet. And then all of a sudden, then they wanted to cast him back down. It was just to, just for their own fun. All right. So, they brought him in and gave him the other man's house, Dan Aykroyd's house, and, his job and his whole position. And it was all for $1, but he ended up finding out. And I'm not, I don't want to tell you the whole movie, but, like I say, watch the movie because the movie is good, and, it symbolizes, the rich man Lazarus. The rich man, and it symbolizes Lazarus, right? The rich man will be the dupes, right? These 2 guys, the brothers, and then Lazarus will represent, Eddie Murphy, okay, which are the Israelites. All right, it's perfect how they did it, okay. But understand that the time is coming where those things are going to be reversed, right? When you read in the book of Deuteronomy, it says, Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7, it says, Yahawah, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, right? So the Lord also promised that, guess what? The Lord is going to right now we are under these curses. We are in captivity, but the Lord is going to turn our captivity, right? And he's going to start putting these curses on these other nations, starting with who? The elites, these top banking families, right, of Esau on down. All right. And these other nations, they're all going to catch it. All right. Because it says, basically all the nations have had their part and their share, of basically, keeping the Israelites down. All right. Touching the apple of Yahawa's eye. All right. So that trading places is coming soon. All right. And when you read the book of Revelation, right, chapter 13, start at verse 9, it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. So the same that, the Heavenly Father said that he, what is that? Salakia, Galatians 6. Let's get it. 6 and 7. Right? It says, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For so whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Okay? And guess what? What Esau has done, right? They're going to reap that reward. Okay? They're going to reap that reward of what they've done. All right? The Lord has not overlooked what happened, right? Revelation 18. Right? Let's get that real quick. Revelation 18. And let's go to it. Here we go. Revelation 18 and 5, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she have filled, fill to her double. Okay? So they're gonna get it, man. Right? This place is gonna get it. Esau, right? This place is going down. Babylon is going down. And guess what? Those top banking families, those elites, right? Who want to play these games like Mortimer Duke and the other Duke, did, right? Those, guess what? They're gonna, just in this movie, they're gonna pay for it, right? And the tables are gonna get turned. Okay, the tables are gonna get turned. All right, that's why it says, in the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6, and let's see, start at verse number 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Right? When is going to be the trading of places? All right? If you can understand, right? What Edris is asking. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay? So Jacob's rulership, when Esau goes down, right, that trading of places, Jacob is going to come up, right? Esau goes down, Jacob goes up. Right? It's that whole trading places movement, basically. All right. That's why in the book of Daniel, and guess what? And this rulership is going to last forever. All right. Daniel chapter 7 and verse number 18, it says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. All right. And when you go down, right, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9, it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, right? Those thrones, right? Those rulerships of these other nations, and their kingdoms, right? It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, right? All those are gone, right? And this is the last of it. Esau and his throne, his kingdom is going to be the last. And guess what? Then starts the kingdom of Yahawah by Yahawashi, which is going to last forever. All right. So it says, and I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. That Ancient of Days is Yahawashi, whose garment was white as snow, and his hair of his head, Salakia, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Right? It's like in a chariot. All right. But those thrones were cast down. All right. And those thrones are talking about those other kingdoms, that were set up for their appointed time. And now, guess what? The true kingdom is coming. All right, the true kingdom is coming, and this kingdom shall last forever. Right, and that trading of places is coming soon. All right. Let me see. Let's get this one. Right. Salakia. All right, so let's go to this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and verse number 1. Right. Matter of fact, let's see. Here we go. So let's go back. Right. You see these the mindset of these men when you watch this movie was they were untouchable, right? They had all the money, they was buying out the cops, right, to make things happen. They were doing all these different things. They were buying out people to change they were going into the crops and stocks, right, at Wall Street. So they were getting the insights to gain all the money, all right, to gain all the money, right? Let's go back to Isaiah. Right? Isaiah 14:3 says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. It says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Right? And that's their whole thought, right? After this money, now all it becomes is power and trying to conquer over people, right? And do these things. And you see that in this movie. They had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. That they was giving a man, I forgot how much money to just to put all these things in places, right? To switch, this whole system around, right? But to gain, because they had the control, they had the money, all right? But it says, I will ascend above all the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High, right? And that's their whole mindset, is that they want to be like the Most High. But it says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, right? And hell is just that condition, right? How we're living in hell right now, in captivity. We're living in these conditions, right? When we should be at the top, we're at the bottom. Right. And now the Lord is going to switch and trade places and send Esau, these top elites, to the bottom. Right. It says, and ye shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. All right. Because they're going to be brought down very low to the ground. Isaiah 47:1. Sit down in the dust, O virgin daughter. Okay. There is no throne. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get. Isaiah. Salakia. I hate when this thing does that. Isaiah 47. Let's go to verse 1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right? And that's what's happening. They're going to be cast down to the ground. All right. Their throne is going to be no more. All right. Just like this, when you watch this movie in Trading Places, right? They lost everything. Right. They went from the top to the bottom very quickly. All right. Very quickly. All right. And that bottom, that pit, Um, let's go back to um, Isaiah 14:1. It says, "For Yahawah, Bahasham Shai, will have mercy upon Jacob," right? Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and you of the diaspora, right? Starting with the elect, okay? And will yet choose Israel, right? And set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, right? And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, right? No strangers, talking about, those Israelites in that Gentile state of mind, right? They're going to be cleaving to the men of Yahawah Bahasham Shai, those of the elect, right? They're going, oh man, these dudes, they know, you know what I'm saying? It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahawah Bahasham Shai for servants and handmaids. And it says, we know, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And it says, and they shall rule over their oppressors. All right, that's what's coming. The Trading Places is coming. All right, the captives, those who took us captives, they're going to be captive. All right, they're going into captivity. All right, that's why I said, here's the patience and the faith of the saints. It says, and they shall rule over their oppressors. All right, this is coming. Right, the changing of the guards, how they say, right? This is all flipping around, right? And in the end, Israel is going to be back on top. It's going to be the men, who the Lord has set us to be above, man. All right, the Deuteronomy 7:6, right? Deuteronomy 14:2, above all these nations. Right now we're below, but that trading of places is coming soon. All right. So we're gonna be going, from the bottom, right here as the Lazarus, as the beggar, and we're gonna be going to the top, man. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see. We're gonna be going to the top, the top of the man. All right, and on the other end, Esau, right, Mortimer and the Dukes, right, they're gonna be going to the bottom into hardcore slavery. All right, for what they have done. The trading of places is coming, and it's coming soon. All right. So, like I said, it's a good movie, right? You should watch it. What is her name? Kathy Lee. Kathy Lee. I'm still trying to remember her name, man. That's crazy. And they show her, but they're not. Dang, what is her name? Salakia. I gotta say this, get this before I close it out. Salakia. I know it's something Lee. Jamie Lee Curtis. Salakia. Jamie Lee Curtis. Right? So Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, Eddie Murphy. All right. And yeah, so just watch it, because like I say, it's the whole movie, you'll be picking up, different things. Like I said, it's a comedy, but it's a good one, but it's a good example of basically Luke chapter 16, man. Luke chapter 16, Luke or Isaiah 14. I mean, the whole nine, man, right? You could tell that they get a lot of this stuff from these scriptures, man. And what's crazy too, so, if you don't know, when you watch Coming to America, right? These same dudes, when Eddie Murphy plays Hakeem, right? Hakeem from Zamunda, right? These same guys, there, when he's walking and he goes to a restaurant, these same dudes are outside begging, right? Because they're poor. They lost all their money. And he ends up handing them some money, You know what I'm saying? So then they're going to be looking for the crumbs, right? This stuff is all going to get flipped around, at the end of the day. So like I say, Trading Places is coming soon, man, right? Like I say, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out. But it's lovely that you can watch stuff and you can see things in the scriptures and show things in the scriptures and show the movie. So like I say, Lord's will, this was edifying, right? With that, I love to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, a mighty shalom, and to the 144,000 men, to the rest of the elect, right? Stay diligent, stay strong, keep enduring, right? And understand that, guess what? We're going to be trading places real soon, right? And soon we will be the head and they will be the tail. Soon we will be on the top and they will be at the bottom, the very bottom. All right. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.